It happened again. This isn't what it looks like, but it is what it looks like, so deal with it. G'day YouTube, Video29, back with you again, and I have other videos that have been prepared, and I did initially do my own personal recap of this one, but I just said, you know what, I'll just do a general run through of this league as well, because there's 4 leagues now that PokePals is a part of. I have been sorting out. I will get some more free-for-alls coming. The weekend's coming up, so we should be able to smash out some Cards Against Humanity. And I've got a new Showdown series that I've been working on with Aiden, and we'll be getting that one done soon too. But for now, you will just be delighted to hear another league has started up. I don't know, I think people sometimes actually enjoy these kind of leagues, so you know, we're just going to go with it. This one is called the GPL. Global Pokemon League, which is pretty cool. I like that. Of course, I am your Tampa Bay Frogadiers, and the other PokePals people that are joining. We have Jack of the Maryland Mienshals. We have Will of the Anfield Infernapes. We have John of the Florida for Alligators, and we also have River, who has recently become a part of PokePals, and he is the Rose Madeline Roserade. So let me kind of break down how this draft works, because this one's going to explain it better than the OKOC. I'm going to be able to explain it a bit better to you. So this is basically how a GBA draft style works, guys. Essentially, as always, you will get your 11 picks, and so you pick up, effectively, you need to have at least one Tier 1, one Tier 2, 2 Tier 3s, a Tier 4, and a Tier 5. They are like set in stone. You're gonna need those. So there's like 600 points. My math is right, 600 points straight there. Then they give you an extra 400 points, basically to spend on 4 free picks for your team. And then an extra 180 points is left over basically in the bank for your Mega. So essentially you have 1,180 points to spend. But if you choose a Mega that's in like a lower tier, you can get a few more points back. But I only think John was the only one who was able to get extra points back for his Mega, because everybody else's Megas are OU. So, breaking it down, there are a few things that were added into this league that I didn't expect to see in this league, and I don't know if they're going to be terrifying or if they're just going to be kind of mediocre. We'll have to wait and see. But the three things that were added into this league are Protean Greninja, Mega Metagross, and Landorus Incarnate. Those were the 3 Pokemon that were allowed in this league. I don't mind them. I think Greninja is a little bit scary, but it can be built around like to block it. Metagross is still in OU, so I guess it's not too bad, but in this format it can be very, very tricky to counter. And then you have Landorus Eye, which, yeah, I don't know how I feel about these yet, because I haven't really battled against them. I think when I get to building against them, I'll get a better grasp of how I feel. But anyway, basically breaking it down, we went in a snake draft order. It isn't really shown here. It's kind of shown, I can quickly kind of show you here. If I get the thing to the side. So that's basically your draft order. Disregard how much was spent, but basically I had Snake. I was freaking Snake. Actually, I can kind of show it there. There you go. That shows it a little bit better and gives you basically an idea of the things that were taken. So funnily enough, I believe the first pick of the entire draft was Mega Scizor, which, you know, is pretty expected, I would say. But what I'm going to do basically is break down everybody's drafts, and as always, break down their best pick, their best offensive Pokemon, their best defensive Pokemon, their dark horse, and their worst picks. There's 5 things. Vertigo's 5, V5, whatever. I will try not to be biased about my team. I'll try and kind of break down why I chose what I chose, but you know, you guys aren't really too fussed by that. You can just see the teams in plain sight, so you just want to see some analysis. Now, disclaimer, obviously I am not a Pokemon genius, okay? I am just going to be giving my opinions on the teams. My opinions could be arse, but this is just generally somebody as a bystander looking at these teams and telling you what they think of them. Okay, so don't, if you're watching it and you're supporting a different team, or if you are the coach, I'm not trying to cause any beef, I'm not trying to, you know, cause any issues with you. I'm just telling you what I think of your team. Okay, but you take that whatever way you want. I think you're all great battlers, and we'll see how the season goes. So first up, we have DeMonster AWS. He has a really cool team. It has a lot of really underrated threats, and that's what I kind of like about it. His best pick is definitely Mega Metagross. In this format, it is a very, very terrifying Pokemon to go up against. Because there aren't that many counters. Like, obviously I have Registeel and Jack has Skarmory, so we've got some counters. But other people are really going to lack some serious counters to this thing, and so that can make it very difficult to deal with. But I think that, it's not like super broken. Like, obviously you saw Adrive in the UCL, he used it phenomenally well. But then again, like in the seasons that we've had, the PPWC and stuff, people have drafted Mega Metagross, and it really hasn't done that much because people can be very creative in setting up sets to counter it. And so I think that, people in this league can be very smart to counter it, but it will be a very terrifying Pokemon to deal with. Best offensive pick, I'm going to go with Hydreigon. It was really tough between Hydreigon and Manaphy, and also Mamoswine, but I really think Hydreigon in this format, especially paired with Mega Metagross, is really solid for him. It forms a very terrifying offensive core, and I think that it'll definitely work very well for him. Hydreigon can attack both ways, very, very strong mixed attacker, and can really blow apart teams, so you have to play really carefully around it, or else you're going to be in a fair bit of trouble. I think, dropping Dracos and Dark Pulses, as well as also having like Superpower, Iron Tail, U-Turn, gives a lot of versatility, and in this kind of league, versatility is one of the best things you can have, so definitely a fantastic offensive pick. When it comes to his defensive choices, I actually really like the combo of Ferrothorn and Chandelure. Like, it's more of a core, so I'm going to say his best defensive pick for his team, honestly, I'm feeling like it's Aromatisse. Aromatisse is kind of underrated because obviously you have Florges, which is a better fairy, and Sylveon, which is technically, I don't think they're better fairies. But Aromatisse, although it's in RU, is actually based at a bargain 40 points in this kind of format. So I think it's actually a really solid defensive pick for him because it was basically bargain basement, and so he was able to preserve a few more of his points, but still get a very solid wall. It has like over base 100 HP, I can Wish Pass, Heal Bell, Trick Room, Carmine, it can do the works. So Aromatisse is a very, very smart choice, and I think it's a very good defensive mon for the team as it actually pairs really nicely with Tentacruel. Anyway, we're going to move on to the dark horse of the team, and I really can't look past Hitmonlee. I think Hitmonlee, people sleep on Hitmonlee. I think it's actually a really phenomenally good physical attacker, especially with the Unburden, can be very good, but also with Reckless. Reckless can be very terrifying, especially with High Jump Kick. Reckless High Jump Kick, if your opponent doesn't have a actually Resist doesn't matter, if your opponent doesn't have a Ghost type, they're in some serious trouble, because Hitmonlee is going to let a smack down on them. I think it will be a very good pick for him this season. If I was going to say a little worse pick, or like my least favorite pick, I'm probably going to say Rotom Cut. Just because he already had the Ferrothorn, and he doesn't really have a flying type. I think Rotom Fan might have been a better choice for him. Of course, it's like a kind of poor man's Thundurus, but it actually has fantastic bulk on its side, so he could have ran it maybe a bit more creatively, and it kind of fit with his team a bit better. I feel like he didn't really need to stock up on 2 grass types, because grass in this format isn't really that great. Of course you have the Rock's weakness, but it's not too big of a deal because you have a Tentacruel, which is a reliable spinner, and I think that, Rotom Fan would have been a better choice there. But that's just my opinion. I think it's still a very, very good team. Moving on, we got Rusty Dusty. I love these names, man. He's rocking, actually, you know what, we don't need to see the pics. I'm going to try and say them by their names. Hello. Thank you. Much better. Wait, it's not much better at all. Yeah. Okay, so we've got Travis here. The Magic Mewtwo space. I'm just going to say about like the team names, it's just easier doing it that way. He has a really, really cool team. The one thing that screamed out to me though when I looked at his team was, damn, that's a lot of attackers. It's cool. It's very hyper offense. I would say that his best pick, honestly, out of a lot, is probably Lopunny. Mega Lopunny is scary. It's really scary, guys. It hits ridiculously hard, it has amazing dual stab, and can just be very annoying for opponents. If you're trying to beat stall, you can run sub. If you're trying to blow back walls, you can run power punch. You can run a lot of variations. One thing I really like doing was running the Tom Pass low putty, which is really good at kind of getting under your opponent's skin and working some advantages that way. So I think there's a lot of options for that, and it's a fantastic offensive Pokemon to deal with. Moving on from that though, I would say that his best offensive choice out of his entire team is probably the Weavile. I think that Ice is a very, very scary type in this format. In general, it's a bit weak on the defensive side, but offensively speaking, Ice is kind of scary to deal with, and especially an Ice Dark type like Weavile can be a very difficult Pokemon to deal with, and I think he's going to be able to use it really solidly because one of the best Weavile checks in the game, in Gramble, is also on his team, and so it means that people are going to have a bit of a tricky time dealing with little old Weavile there, and I think that it's going to cause an issue for a lot of teams who aren't really prepared for what Weavile can do, and I think it will be a really good choice for him. Best defensive one is kind of tricky because, like, his defensive walls are Bronzong, Jellicent, Dragalge, Rotom Heat, and possibly Lando T, which is okay. They're all just, like, Lando T is the only real standout wall that I see there, in my opinion. But I think that he can definitely make it work with what he has. I'm gonna say his best wall, probably Bronzong. Bronzong is great as well because it is a very good Mega Metagross counter, which would probably wreck his team if Mega Metagross came around. But Bronzong is fantastic there. Can set up rocks as well as Trick Room and have powerful moves like Gyro Ball and Heavy Slam and whatnot. So I think defensively speaking though, Bronzong is a very, very strong Pokemon to bring to the game. The one issue with his team though is that he doesn't really have any reliable recovery. So, knockoff users can just take all of his Pokemon's lefties, and then eventually they can just be worn and torn down, and so that's why I think his defensive walls are a little bit lacking in my opinion. But that's just how I feel. Okay. Dark Horse pick, in my opinion, is Diggersby. I know he already has Lando T, and I know he already has Mega Lopunny, but Diggersby is really underrated in this kind of format. I think that he can use it to surprise people, definitely. I think it's also, for Tier 2, it's a very strong Pokemon to pick up in Tier 2. It has a lot of possibilities, and I think that the big thing for me about it is that huge power makes it a seriously threatening Pokemon to deal with, accompanied with the fact that it can get Sword Stance and Agility, as well as just having some fantastic stab moves, as well as some really creative moves like Fire Punch and all that stuff. I think it is a very tough Pokemon to deal with, and people are going to struggle. When it comes to my least favorite pick for the entire team, I'm going to say it's Medicham. You already have Mega Lopunny. When are you not going to use Mega Lopunny and use Medicham over Mega Lopunny? I think that, he probably could have, picked a better choice there. He already had a bunch of Psychic types. Like, he has Bronzong and Sigilyph already. He didn't need the Medicham at that point. I think you could have maybe picked up something a bit better, in my opinion. Maybe a better lower tiered wall. I'm not sure exactly which one I would have recommended, but definitely could have picked up one that would have put in a bit more work for the team. For example, something like a Rhyperior wouldn't have been the worst pick there. But you know what? He made the decision, and you never know, he might redraft, but it's still a very solid team. Moving on, we have the Maryland Mienshao. Now Jack, his first few picks, it was just like so much bulk, and he started to develop a bit more attacking prowess. But to be honest, he has, let's see, 1, 2, possibly 3, 4, 5. Yeah, he's still got like a bunch of good attackers. That's the thing, he's built a team where he has a lot of Pokemon that are kind of my favorite Pokemon as well, which are where they can be bulky, but they can also be offensive. I think his best pick overall, he'll want to say Vaporeon, but I think it's definitely going to be Garchomp. In this format, Garchomp is only 120 points, which I think is a crime. I think that's a crime. Like, Garchomp is only 120 points, and a Pokemon like Dragonite is 180. That's what I don't get. Why is Dragonite 180 points, but Garchomp is 120? Like, what exactly is it about Dragonite? Dragonite isn't better than Garchomp. I don't care what people say. Dragonite is not better than Garchomp, and so I think for 120 points, it's a ridiculously good bargain, and he swooped in on it really well. His best offensive Pokemon this season, I'm going to say it's the old faithful, but Raikou is still a very, very good offensive Pokemon this season. You know, Volt Switching is very strong, he can set up Calm Minds and subs, and he can even run like Zap Plate and Wires Glasses and run a T-Wave, Toxic, and really stun his opponents. So it's definitely a really cool option for Jack to do, and I think he'll really be able to utilize it phenomenally well this season. I think when we talk about defensive Pokemon, you can see his Mega and you can understand why you think that's the best defensive mon. But then again, like looking at his team in general, it's just all disgustingly defensive. Like he has Skarm, Vaporeon, Mega Venusaur. Just that in itself, ugh, just makes me want to convulse and die. He's built very well defensively. I can't exactly pick out a certain defensive mon that I like the most. I think they all have their merit, and I think he'll all use them very solidly. When it comes to the Dark Horse, I can't go past Zoroark. I think in this format, it can be very, very hard to deal with because Zoroark has that inept ability of, you know, for example, say Zoroark pretends to be Heatran, and so your opponent then thinks, oh yeah, I'll just go into my Heatran check, which, you know, say for the Magic Mewtwo's is their Jellicent, and then they get hit by a Dark Pulse and just die. Because it's a Zoroark, not a Heatran. You know, things like that, and I think it's just going to be, he'll be able to use it really intelligently throughout the season. I think it'll be very, it will catch a few people off guard. When it comes to Jack's worst pick, this one is a bit of a tricky one because I think he's drafted really solidly, and I think like he would expect me to pick a Selgor, but obviously a Selgor is really nice for his team. The role that it fills, setting up his hazards, is great. The issue that I have though with that is that he's picked a Selgor, which is obviously a fast mon, which is great too, but it doesn't really fit what he wants as a hazard setter because honestly, Jack doesn't have any way to stop Defog or Rapid Spin on his team. He has Garchomp, which can come in and obviously put in a little bit of work when it comes to, you know, dealing with it, but it doesn't really do that much. If you get what I mean, it doesn't really stop the spin happening, and so then all the Selgor's work is wasted. But then again, moves like Final Gambit, Jack can kind of flip that around. So I wouldn't say that's his worst pick. If I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't know, it's probably, I think he uses Meloetta well. I know Taurus is a very, very good Pokemon. It's very hard to pick a worst Pokemon for him. Very, very, very difficult. It's between Taurus and Meloetta. Meloetta he has used in the past and proved it to be good, but I think the more that we've gone into these leagues, it's not really. I think he's slowly starting to realize that it's not the be-all and end-all of teams. It's not like the Vaporeon for him, which he always brings. Meloetta is more just a Pokemon that he enjoys to bring, but it's not like the best thing, and I think he's starting to slowly realize that. But also with Tauros, although it is fantastic offensively, he already has a fast Pokemon in Raikou, Mienshao, and in Selgor, and so maybe Tauros could have been something a bit different. I don't know. I mean, I just think that with all those other fast Pokemon on the team, it seems like Tauros might struggle to get chances to play, but you never know. Sheer Force Tauros is very versatile, and I'm sure Jack can find ways to bring it to the fore. Anyway, we're going to move on because I want to try and smash through these because it's like freaking 12:45 in the morning and I want to sleep. Anyway, we're up to the BH Beedrills. I really wish I knew what the BH stood for, but Beedrills, whatever. OG Sacco. So, this man had first pick in the draft, a Big Mega Scizor, which is pretty cool. Would I say it's his best pick for his team? No, because it's a Mew, and Mew is by far the best first pick you can do. He didn't pick it first, as you can see, it was a free pick. I didn't pick up Mew because I wasn't looking to get it, and I didn't think it would come down to me at that point. And honestly, I've used Mew in the past, and as great as it is, I honestly didn't really want to use it this season. I've used it before, I wanted to go with something a bit different, so you know, that was just me. But Mew is definitely his best pick. The versatility is ridiculous, guys, let's be honest with ourselves. And I think he'll be able to find some really creative ways to use the Mew, and that's the best thing for it. I think his best offensive mon is Infernape, for the fact that, you know, close combat being close combat, U-turn, all those great moves, as well as being a really good lead. You can run Taunt, you can run Endeavor, a lot of really cool ways you can run Infernape to get the upper hand on your opponent. Defensively speaking, though, his team's a little bit weak on the defensive side. Like, he has Kofagrigus, which is great. He has Rotom Wash, which is great. And then there's no wall. He's relying on, like, he's relying on 2 Pokemon to wall everything, basically. One sec. Okay. I can't say I agree with that, to be honest. I'm gonna be honest, I don't agree with that. I don't think, if I'm picking between those two as a good wall, I'm gonna say Rotom Wash, because Kofagrigus is a great wall, but it's just nope. I don't know, I just feel like he could have picked better with walls, and Rotom Wash is still a great wall and is fantastic at what it does, so kudos to him for that one, but I just think maybe he could have gone a bit more well-rounded when it came to picking walls for his team, you know, for example, Whimsicott could have been Chestnut. Chestnut plus Rotom Wash is a fantastic little core, and that could have definitely been something that he did, but unfortunately that never really happened, so, you know, there's that. His Dark Horse pick. He wants it to be Slacking. It's not going to be Slacking, by the way. Just giving you the heads up beforehand. I honestly think it's probably going to be Nidoqueen. Just because people always think like Nidoking's the better one. Nidoqueen is very good in this format. It can run an array of moves and has access to Stealth Rocks and can be just really good at either supporting the team or just blowing back some serious threats. So I definitely think that Nidoqueen is a really good choice for his team and should put in a heck of a lot of work. When it comes to the worst pick, I'm not going to beat around the bush. Why would you pick Slacking as your last choice when you had an Ambipom and a Swellow? When you could have picked a wall, you know, like a wall that paired with Rotom and with Kofagrigus, such as, you know, Vileplume, which I'm pretty sure nobody picked. Hold on, let me just check. Tier 5 is where Vileplume would be. I don't see Vileplume was picked there. Free picks. Can I see Vileplume? No. No. Nope. Nope. So, there you go, man. I would definitely, when you get the chance to redraft, dude, redraft that Slacking into a Vileplume and thank me later. Because honestly, you need something there. You need something. Not even Vileplume, just some kind of defensive mon would be great over Slacking, because Slacking, okay, he was talking to me about this plan. Okay, he thinks what he'll do is physical attack will come in on Kofagrigus, activate Mummy, he'll go out to Slacking, hoping the physical attacker stays in on Kofagrigus, and Slacking will attack the Pokemon and get the Mummy. And I was like, that's not how this is going to go down, to be honest. But you know what? It's fine. If he wants to back it, he can back it. I think it's a really easy Pokemon to wall, to be honest. You can just run Protect on everything, and then with Truant, you can just destroy it. For example, I have Gothitelle. I could effectively just go Protect Carmine until I win. I can just have like a plus 6 guard of Gothitelle, just chilling on the field, because I can. And then because I don't think he has an entire Dark-type Pokemon in his team, he does not, I could just run Psychic and blow him back if I wanted to. Just Psychic, Hidden Power Fire, Protect Carmine, sweeping his team. I don't know. I think he needs a bit more balance. But we'll move on. Speaking of someone who needs a bit more balance, there are 3 Pokemon in this next team that I'm not even going to try and describe. Yeah, we've got the Greenland Titars. It's a pretty good team. I'm not gonna lie. I'm trying to be nice here. Okay, I'm trying to be a nice guy. Alright, best pick. Let me look at your team again. Remind me, what is your best pick? Latios. Sure, we'll go with Latios. It's better than T-Tar and it's better than Talonflame because he chose Talonflame, Scolipede, and no spinner. He has no way to spin away rocks. So basically, every time someone goes up against him right now, someone's going to be like, rocks. Talonflame, dead in 2 turns. Scolipede isn't going to really do that much. So, what are you doing, bro? I mean, he has one way, there is one way for him to get rid of rocks, which is Latios. So basically means every single game, you're expecting a Dragon-type stab, a Psychic-type stab, and Defog. Which means Latios is effectively losing a lot of its versatility, because Latios can run some really cool sets, and he's limiting the possibilities of Latios here, which I think is kind of, I don't know, I just don't agree with it. I don't think you want to really just kind of hedge your bets on a Pokemon that doesn't need to run that move. Like, there are other Pokemon such as like Tentacruel, which are meant to have that move, that's what they do. Whereas Latios doesn't have to be a defaulter. It just puts a lot of pressure then. If he's going to bring Talonflame, he's going to bring Scolipede, he has to bring Latios. So that's why Latios is his best pick, because it saves his team, pretty much. Offensively speaking, you can't really go past Talonflame, because it's Talonflame and it just blows through like teams. So if you don't prepare well for Talonflame, you're not gonna enjoy life. Pretty much. What else we got? Defensive Pokemon. Okay, let me see if I can find one. Nope, couldn't find one. I'm sorry. His closest thing to a defensive Pokemon that I can see is a Ferroseed. So basically, he's playable to anything, and his team has like not many switch-ins that want to come in. Yeah, so defensively speaking, I guess his best is going to be Ferroseed. I want to say it's going to be Assault Vest Metagross, but who knows if he's going to run that. His Dark Horse pick is definitely Ditto. He did draft one really cool Pokemon there in Ditto. Its versatility might just save him a few times just because he can copy a Pokemon that tries to sweep him, such as Charizard X, and that could be an issue. So there's always possibilities like that you have to watch out for. His worst pick. There are a few. If you haven't noticed, he picked Pikachu, Diglett, and Ferroseed. Also picked Galvantula, even though he had Scolipede, and he had Pikachu. So he didn't need that either. That was just... dude. I'm gonna say it's Diglett. Do I want to say it's Diglett? I have to. Pikachu's actually viable, Diglett isn't. Has to be Diglett. I'm sorry, dude, I know you're trying to pitch for Diglett to be good, but let's be real for a second. If your Diglett chapped my Megazord X, your Stoner should do about 25%. And I just blow you away with an Outrage or a Dragon Claw because you're a freaking Diglett. And if you don't defog away and you're running Sash Diglett, Diglett just gets outsped by everything, dude. So, just don't think it was a good pick. And that's all I'm going to say on that. I just want to move on. Alright, we're almost halfway there. I think we are halfway there. Cool. Next, we have the Arkansas Agrons, which is Rio. He picked some really cool Pokemon, some interesting ones, definitely. I think definitely his best pick is Megazord Y. It is scary good. It is scary good. Like, the rocks are annoying, obviously, for like Megazord Y, but you know what? It doesn't really care. Well, it does care about it, but isn't like it can still blow away a lot of walls and a lot of like formations that you're trying to do with the team. So you have to build really smart if you want to be able to deal with it. And so that's why I think it was a really smart pick for him, because it makes your opponent really have to scramble to find good counters. The one downside is that he doesn't have a single Pokemon with Rapid Spin. He is sold. Actually, no, sorry. He has Togekiss with Defog, which honestly is just terrible. And he also is banking on Espeon being able to block every rocker in the game, because last time I remembered, Espeon stopped Garchomp. Last time I checked, if you don't run HP Fire, you're going to lose to a Ferrothorn Gyro Ball. And let's not talk about Espeon's matchup against Bronzong today, shall we? Let's just not. Anyway. Aside from that, I think his best offensive pick is a Azumarill, because it's a Azumarill. I don't know why he's got Azumarill plus Megazord Y, but I'm intrigued to see how it goes with it. I think Megazord X and Azumarill is better. I didn't get it, but I'm saying it's better. So I'll be interested to see how you can use it though, because Azumarill is a very, very scary Pokemon. So, you know, we'll see what happens. It's not scary to me because I have a Moongus, but it's scary to everybody else, so we'll see what happens. I think his best defensive Pokemon is... Oh, it's happened again! What? This guy's only defensive Pokemon is technically Togekiss. Regice doesn't count. It's a freaking Regice. It can burn in hell. Togekiss is his only viable defensive Pokemon on his team. And I genuinely mean that. So basically he's going to rely on Togekiss to not be offensive, but to be defogging every single game to keep his Zard X, Zard Y alive, so... Cool. Yeah, definitely good. Definitely good. His Dark Horse, I'm going to say it's going to be... I'm going to say it's actually going to be Toxicroak, just because I've just realized that Toxicroak can put in some serious work. It's a pretty good Pokemon for him, and it'll definitely work well, and you know, it's not the worst Pokemon. I'm sure he can do some work with it. The one thing I just realized though was that he has like 0 switch-ins to rock moves, except for Tyrantrum. Because Toxicroak doesn't really want to take him. Like if it's going for Orlando T, you know Toxicroak's going to die. So, you know, there's that. When it comes to his worst pick, let's see. What's that? Is there a steel type down there? I feel like somebody else must have picked it up. No. Why wouldn't you just, instead of Regice, he could have gone for Avalugg? And at least with Avalugg, he would have had another rock weakness, sure. But at least he would have had a reliable thing to kind of pair with Togekiss. Sure, they're both weak to steel. But you have the Croak. And you have Zardwai. I don't know, man. You have like no core. You have one possible defensive Pokemon. Togekiss and Regice don't make a core, because there's a type called Steel. So, I don't really know what will help him here. I think it's just going to be tough, because he really likes a wall. Hyper Offense might be the way that he has to win battles. Whether that works or not is yet to be seen. We'll have to wait and find out. Anyway, we're going to move on, because those 3 teams in the middle there didn't make me feel good. I'm sorry, they just didn't. I'm not the kind of person to hold back. I have an opinion. I'm gonna give you my opinion. That's just how I feel. Go to Will, the Anfield Infernape, Iammonkeyman. He ended up getting Protein Greninja, which is by far his best pick. There is Mega Altaria is great, but that's his best offensive one, to be honest. Protein Greninja, I don't really need to describe why this is his best pick, do I? Okay, cool. I'm gonna move on then. His best offensive pick is Altaria, because setting up on stuff and blowing it away is phenomenal. You can't really deny that. And Altaria has a fantastic ability to run the mixed attacking and just blow teams away. For example, Altaria, once Mega Metagross gets taken out, basically destroys the LA Landorus. I mean, you have Tentacruel, but Altaria can run Earthquake. So yeah, maybe you can just blow him away straight away. Oh no, Mega Metagross outspeeds. Unless he D-Dance. Yeah, Altaria just destroys him. Anyway, I think his best defensive pick is probably just Cress, because freaking bulky Cress. No, wait, it's not Cress. He didn't... Oh, they didn't change it correctly. He doesn't actually have Cresselia. He does not. He has something different, and I can't remember what it is. But I don't think he got Cress. I feel like it was something different that he got. I know he got Hooper Regular. And that was his tier 2 or tier 3 pick. Can't remember. So I'm going to say his best defensive Pokemon is Umbreon. I'm pretty sure he didn't get Cress, but I could be wrong. I think his best defensive Pokemon is Umbreon, because it is just a really good Wish Passer. Foul Play is a really annoying and dangerous move. And Umbreon has the inept ability of having Synchronize, which can be really handy in certain matchups against certain Pokemon. You just got to kind of pick your moments and just, you know, do them right. But I think Umbreon will be very good for him this season. I think his Dark Horse, looking at his team, I really want to say it's Hooper Regular. Psychic Ghost is a pretty cool typing, and I think, you know, with the array of moves and the base 150 special attack, it could be good. The unfortunate thing is obviously the easy weakness to Dark type attacks. So your Sucker Punches, your knockoffs, all those are going to be in play and can really dent regular Hooper. So he's just going to watch out for those, to be honest. I think that his worst pick... Let's see. That's a tough one. I think actually he drafted a really, really solid team. If anything, I can't remember. I'm going to say his worst pick is just Cresselia, just because I can't remember what the actual pick was. But I'm sure whatever it is, he comes in and replaces it, and it's fine. So yeah, whatever. It's fine. It's all good. 3 teams to go, then I can go to bed and you can just stop watching this and drop a like, which is fantastic. We have the Rosebell and Roserades, River. He has drafted a pretty kooky little team, actually, now that I look at it. Wait a minute. 1, 2, 3. Okay, good. I just want to make sure he had enough walls. His best pick overall, I'm going to give that award to Latias, because supporting, as well as calm minding, as well as, you know, defogging and roosting and all those shenanigans of traits that I can see Latias being very good at, and what I think makes it a very good Pokemon, so I approve. What we got? Defensive Pokemon. I'm really tired if you can't tell. Milotic is his best defensive Pokemon because it's a Milotic. It's a fantastic wall. The fact that he got it as a free pick is amazing. I can't remember if it's worth 100 points or 120, but it's definitely worth all the points that it is. I definitely would recommend, yeah, that's a very good Pokemon to pick up, to be honest. It's so bulky. It's so goddamn bulky, I hate it. Here's Underdog, underrated. Let's go Mega Heracross, because nobody expects the Mega Heracross. It's just such a good kind of Pokemon. I like using an OU because I never really see it coming, and that's really cool. I like that about it. Pardon me, goddamn, Honey Chicken coming back up. I really do like that about it. It just has a really good matchup against a lot of pokes as well, and can just click close combat and blow back a lot of things. So I think Mega Heracross is a very good Pokemon for his team, very underrated. His worst pick, I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm gonna say Malamar. I love Malamar to bits. People who know me know that I love Malamar to bits. The unfortunate thing is in this format, there's a move called U-Turn, Power Bug, and a lot of things with 4 times weaknesses can't really function that well. And since you already have Spiritomb, you have Alakazam and Latias, your need for a Dark and Psychic type was not really there. I think a better pick could have been a normal type in that spot, such as, you know, Kangaskhan or something. I don't know, just a better normal type from the lower tiers could have put in a bit more work, even Bouffalant, because you know, obviously being able to eat up a grass move and get the Sap Sip is kind of cool, even though you have Roserade, but I think maybe Malamar was, yeah, it wasn't the best pick. Anyway, moving on to me. Yeah, go me. I was stoked with my draft. I really basically got everything I wanted, to be honest, with the team I was trying to build. I only got sniped like once, but I just turned it around anyway. The only thing I really got sniped on was that River picked Alakazam just before me, but I just decided to get Gothitelle, which is fine. I think my best pick overall is Kieran Black, and you know why. You've seen, you'll see in like the next few battles that you'll be watching. Kieran Black is a savage. It is fantastic in this format, possibly one of the best Pokemon in this format. I'm going to literally make the statement now. Kieran Black is one of the best Pokemon in this format. It is incredibly hard to wall, and can also wall a lot of big threats. For example, it can deal with Protean Greninja. I'm going to prove it to you. I'll show you. I've built this really cool Kieran set, and we're going to see if it works against Will, because I have him round 1. We'll see what happens. But I think that, you know, Kieran Black is a very, 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 very good Pokemon. I'm very happy I picked it. My best offensive Pokemon, can't really go past Zardex for the fact that it can just kind of blow through teams. And I kind of needed a fire type, so I kind of went with it. My best defensive Pokemon, hard to say. I've got a Moongus, Donphan, Registeel, Quagsire, you know, so many. I really want to say Quag because for only 40 points, it's the same situation as a Aromatisse. It's bargain basement, it's good, and so good stuff makes me happy. And Unaware is freaking ridiculous. Love it. It means the guy with the Ditto can't beat me because then I have my own Quag to block him, so that's pretty cool. What else we got? Dark Horse. Ooh. Probably I'd say Staraptor or Gothitelle. I really like Staraptor for 120 points. I really think it's a good pick. I actually am starting to warm to Gothitelle for its ability to be able to trap and kill Pokemon. Being pretty cool. I do appreciate that. So, I think that it'll be a very solid pick this season. I'm going to say, I'll go with Gothitelle. I think Gothitelle will be my underdog. My worst pick. I don't know, I like everything. I guess my worst pick, maybe some people will say it's Donphan or Registeel. Actually, they'll probably say it's Scrafty. I don't know, I kind of wanted Scrafty because it paired nicely with Registeel. They both have the fighting weakness, but I did have Sylveon plus Amoonguss to cover it, so it wasn't like the biggest deal for me. But I think that maybe I could have picked a bit better around those guys, or even picked something better than Eel. But then again, I really like the balance of this team, and I'm really excited to see how it can go this season. Okay, one team to go, guys, and then I can sleep. Happy freaking days. Okay, we have John of the Florida for Alligators. He got Lando Eye, which is terrifying because Lando Eye is a very terrifying mod to deal with. He also, it's definitely his best pick. That thing is just terrifying as all hell. Its versatility is second to none. It can run Calm Mind, it can run Swords Dance, you can run it Scarfed, you can run it Life Orb. It's just, sheer force is scary, man. There's a reason it got banned. His best offensive pick, I'm going to go with Mega Beedrill. The fact that it can U-turn and just do some really good shenanigans is great for him. I'm sure he'll be able to utilize it really well. His best defensive mon is definitely Suicune. That thing is such a wall, and the ability to like calm mind and sleep people is always frustrating, but you know, I think it's a smart pick for him too. So, it's all good. Underdog. I'm going to say it's Kyurem. I was going to say Gardevoir, but then I'd be kidding myself. I think Kyurem in his regular form is still very, very strong. And again, it's one of those Pokemon that is very hard to wall in general, and I think that, you know, John will find a lot of success using it. There's not too many things that can really stop it. With the versatility of its moveset as well, I think it'll be a very good Pokemon to bring. When it comes to his worst pick, it's a bit of a tricky one overall. I honestly think it's Gardevoir, which might come and surprise you, but honestly, I think at the time that he picked it, he was really just after a Fairy type, and Gardevoir was the only one left. When, I can't remember if Florges was still an option at that time, but I feel like that might have been the better thing to pick up at that stage, because I'm pretty sure they're the same points. They are not. Whoa, Florges 120 points. Broken. I still think that he could have picked up, not necessarily like a Fairy type, because you don't really need a Fairy type, but I think he could have picked a better Pokemon than Gardevoir in Tier 3. I think there were a few better options there that he could have gone for, but you know what, it's still a pretty solid team. So that basically wraps it up, guys. I don't know who's going to win, because honestly, I can never predict that. I think it's going to be a fun competition. I'll give you the basic runbacks of the battles that I'm in, and then also do a weekly recap of all the battles that you'll see from all the different leagues. If you are enjoying these, make sure you give us a big old thumbs up. Really appreciate that. Like I said, I'll be trying to smash out some free-for-alls over the weekend. Maybe do some Cards Against Humanity. And definitely going to start this new series with Aiden for you guys to enjoy it. When Tom's computer gets fixed, the Soul Link will come back too. He's just having some issues with that. And if I talk to Aiden, we can get the card lock back up and going again, but he's also having some issues. So, you know, when we get all these issues sorted, some other stuff will be uploaded, but for now, you just got league stuff, so I hope you do enjoy it. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Keep on being PokePals. Dude29, signing out.